Hey everybody, this is Andy Bennett with the CSS News Civil War Interpretive Center with our food preservation series. If you've seen the video on pickling, you know we need vinegar to pickle, but where are they going to get vinegar from in the 19th century? This is what this video is about. Let's first talk about the science of vinegar. Vinegar is acetate acid. It comes from acetate bacteria. Acetate bacteria take alcohol and convert it into acetate acid. This is beneficial to us as preserving food and in cooking, but is the enemy to the brewer and the vintner. Right, the first kind of instances of vinegar is in ancient Rome, where they talk about they were storing food in wine to help preserve it. And they noticed that when the wine went sour and turned into sour wine, it preserved the food better. What sour wine is vinegar. It is where acetate bacteria floating around the atmosphere has landed in that wine and started to consume the alcohol in it and turn it into vinegar. So it's basically food preserved in red wine vinegar. Today, it's easier to make vinegar at home than probably any other time due to the popularity of unfiltered vinegars, apple cider vinegars with the mother in there. That's the acetate bacteria colony in that vinegar. I've let this settle so you can see the mother settled at the bottom in that vinegar. So all you need is that mother. So in the 19th century, as long as you saved on to some of your mother, you can take that and make vinegar. So what sources of alcohol do they have access to in the 19th century? Well, they made homemade wines out of all kinds of fruits and berries they could gather. They could take some of that and convert that over into tasty vinegar. They could take apple cider. Fermented apple cider was a popular beverage, alcohol beverage at the time. They also had table beers or green beers. These are beers of low alcohol content made of other things around the house. Some of those names of those popular beers are still with us today, with ginger ale and root beer. Those originally flavored beers that they would have. They lend themselves to turning vinegar because they go bad rather quickly, so it's easy enough to add the mother and convert those over to a vinegar instead of them being spoiled. This will start off as a possum beer. Possum beer is corn and persimmons turned into a beer, and I've added some mother and turned this into a vinegar. Right, you can make all types of vinegar, depending on what you start out. The kind of gives you different flavor profiles. Man, what you start off on, like red wine vinegar, apple cider vinegar, goes very distinctly two different flavors. Whether it's white wine vinegar, those have different flavor profiles. What vinegar you start off with, or what alcohol you start off with, into vinegar. But you can also add herbs and different things into vinegar to make tasty vinegars for cooking. Let's say you have got wholesome lemons. Lemons are expensive in the 19th century. Most of them have to come all the way from Sicily. We have some citrus production in Florida, but it hasn't really ramped up into the giant it will become. So most of our citrus is coming from Spain and Sicily. So you get those lemons. Let's say you make some lemonade out of it. Well, you know, you've got there's still some juice. There's still some pulp on those lemons. You know, you can use the rind to flavor things, but you can also throw some salt on those and draw out the juice, a little bit of juice in the flesh and pulp that's still there. You end up with a little bit of lemony salt. You can add that to a white wine vinegar and make a lemon vinegar. This with some herbs and a little bit of oil on some lettuce makes a tasty salad dressing. You can also use these vinegars with flavorings in it to activate baking soda to leaven bread. So you're adding flavoring at the same time you're adding vinegar agent to activate your leaveners in bread to make some tasty bread. So vinegars are used not just food preservation, but all kinds of cooking uses as well. Hopefully you're enjoying these videos. You're learning something. check out our videos on our YouTube page, our Facebook, and Instagram.